Welcome to our Advertiser Breakfast Club, and thank you guys so much for spending your morning with us. I'm Amanda, Head of Publisher Development, and I will be your host today. All right, so I'm pretty excited. What we're going to talk about is first an overview of the purchase funnel. I promise I'll keep it light, we'll keep it quick. Then we're going to dive into attribution. It's obviously a really hot topic right now, and it's super relevant for what we're talking about today. We're going to cover promotional methods and examples. I will be keeping this relatively top level, but we will cover some kind of considerations and tips for working with some of these types of promotional methods. I've also chosen the most common ones. We're not covering every single one. Affiliate can do so much, but we would be here all day. So starting with the digital marketing funnel, the reason why I wanted to bring up our digital marketing funnel and talk about that today is because of the importance of diversifying your affiliate program. So as you diversify, you can make sure that you're touching consumers at various different points of that purchase journey. So I'll just talk everyone through our digital marketing funnel. So at the top of the funnel, we have our awareness and engagement stage. With that stage, you might find affiliates such as influencers or search who might be able to help capture your consumers at that kind of top of funnel stage. Next, as we move into consideration, is comparison type of affiliates who might be able to help your consumers consider and compare your product versus other products in the market. And this can be super helpful. This consideration stage and leveraging comparison affiliates can be particularly important if you are selling a large ticket item. So if maybe you're in the travel space or mattresses or anything that is a little bit more of an investment, these type of affiliates help bring those consumers to you versus your competitors. As we get towards that kind of bottom of funnel, that conversion stage, it does tend to be a lot of the kind of incentivized type of affiliates who can be really helpful there. So perhaps loyalty or cashback, or at that pointy end, maybe even on-site technology. I am making some generalizations today, but I do want everyone to keep in mind that each individual partner has different products and different ways of engaging with your customers. So while I'm kind of generalizing, it might be that one of your partners can actually capture consumers at various different points of the funnel. So it's definitely important to keep in mind they all have unique value to add. What's interesting in the affiliate channel that people don't often think about, I feel like we tend to stop at that point of conversion, but you can actually use your affiliate partnerships to move beyond just that conversion and actually incentivize your customers post-purchase, bringing them back to the top of your funnel and increasing that loyalty, such as in the McKinsey model. You can also use post-purchase to use your current customers as advocates to bring more customers into the top of the funnel. So I'm going to share an example at the end of today that's going to demonstrate and bring that to life a little bit. When we're talking about different types of partners and engaging with your customers in different ways, I do think it's important to make sure we have a foundational understanding of tracking hierarchy and attribution. So what I've tried to visually demonstrate here is how tracking attribution might impact a customer journey. So clicklist codes sit at the top of the hierarchy. They don't require cookie-based tracking or anything else. They're assigned to a unique partner, and thus the attribution always goes to that partner. Super helpful with influencer activity and various unique types of campaigns. A standard click is what we're all pretty familiar with. You click, convert, we track. A soft click is actually a stand down to that standard click. So it would be overwritten by a standard click. And at the very bottom, we have impression. So an impression is if a customer actually just views your ad, perhaps it's within content, or maybe you're doing some display advertising. We can track all of that. However, if I share a real life example, let's say you have a customer called Jack. Jack is reading about the news. Maybe he's just browsing the news first thing in the morning. He sees an ad, maybe you sell sneakers. He sees an ad for sneakers, remembers, I need some sneakers. Jack then goes through and starts looking, oh, what sneakers are trendy right now? Clicks through some affiliate links, gets to your customer purchase portal on your website. Maybe a browser extension engages him. but maybe you have determined a self-click attribution for that browser extension or for on-site technology that may have engaged him. So right now, we've already touched various different parts of attribution in this journey, but maybe Jack gets to the very end and remembers, oh, I have a student discount code. And then he checks out with the code. Even though he may have touched various different affiliate partners, it would be whoever you assigned that exclusive clicklist code to would get the attribution. Just so we understand, this can be really helpful in creating more unique partnerships and unique campaigns. Okay, so as we start to look at some of the different types of promotional methods, we'll start with the easier ones. Coupon and deal affiliates, they specialize in publishing advertisers' coupons or offers to customers, often large audiences, but could actually be smaller or niche audiences. So there is a difference between a deal site and a coupon site that I did want to clarify. So a deal site tends to be an engaged type of community, often bargain hunters, and they're actually talking about the best deals in the market. A coupon site is more of a destination that provides coupons to consumers to purchase. A deal site doesn't necessarily have coupons. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but it tends to be more promotional led. So some considerations with these types of guys. If you have any concerns around perhaps leakage, something that can be really helpful for you is single use and unique codes. It means a customer can just use that code once. That way you don't have to worry about that code ending up everywhere. Exclusive and clicklist codes can also help you keep any discounts that were intended for a specific partner attributing to only that partner. Now, maybe you actually don't often use coupons as part of your strategy, but you want to test it out. Or maybe you want to target a specific segment of consumers, like students, for example. Or maybe you want to target and incentivize or reward, rather, frontline workers. You could use Blue Light Card to do something like that. White label coupon portals are kind of interesting. They've been around for a little while now. The Google algorithm updates have definitely had an impact on these types of partners, but who they are is essentially SEO experts and technology providers who create a coupon page that's often on a content site. So again, we're using a coupon strategy, but with a content partner. PPC and supporting activity. These types of partners can maybe add different types of promotional methods within the overall strategy. So for example, DealMoon works with a lot of influencers who have a large Chinese audience. They might be able to help you promote your brand if you're trying to tap into those specific segments or demographics. A partner like Global Savings Group could help with your PPC activity if that was something that you wanted to delegate to an affiliate partner or let that affiliate partner take on that kind of front-end CPC cost so that you would actually only pay them on a CPA, which can be really handy. And finally, it's just good to be mindful that there are a lot of browser extensions in this space as well, helping customers make that journey a little bit easier if they already know they're going to want a coupon. Now, I've shared some examples. Here we have an example of a single-use code with Unidays, and here we have DealMoon. So as you can see already, these might not be looking like a typical coupon publisher. The DealMoon community is very much, you can see, it's brand focused, it's product focused. Here we have an example of strong SEO. So I was looking for an Adidas offer, and you can actually see in my search results that Groupon was the highest organic ranking. A lot of these partners rank really well organically. And then Marie Claire is an example of a white labeled coupon solution. As you can see, it's not what you might think when you think a coupon site. It actually is more aesthetic. Loyalty and cashback, I think you guys are probably all super familiar, so I'll try not to spend too much time on this category, but essentially they're affiliates who pass back a portion of their commission that advertisers pay them to the end consumer, so to your customers, typically in the form of cashback or points. So some considerations with these guys is many, if not most of them, do use browser extensions. So if that's something that you have any concerns about, I'd recommend you speak to that partner specifically and see what options might be available. A strong CPA is the value add to the customer. So that's just something to consider with these guys. It's The customer might not be seeking specifically just a coupon or that last minute gratification, but they do want their cash back, and that is their reward for making that purchase with you. So when considering your commission rates, just consider that you might not be as competitive with your competitors if you're selling the same types of products, but one is offering higher cash back and maybe you are or are not. CLO, I think, is something that people are talking a lot about right now. It's been around for years and years and years, but it's definitely gaining popularity. Now, CLO, or card-linked offers, this tends to sit in the loyalty space, which is why I included it with this group of partners. They have really unique targeting capabilities that you can tap into. So maybe you just launched your brand in Queensland and you want to target specific Queensland customers. There are all sorts of types of targeting capabilities and customizations that you can do through CLO that are unique. You can segment with your online digital audience as well, but I guess it's easier if you know this card has been issued to a specific customer with a specific address. It gives you that granularity. These types of partners also have really strong CTAs that drive immediate action. So I don't know if anyone's ever shopped a Shopback flash sale, but I certainly have. So if they're going to give me 30% cash back, then boom, I'm going to make that purchase today. Not even going to think about it. I already know I kind of want something. I'm going to go for it now. So that can be really helpful. So I won't spend too much time on the examples for these guys, but these are just some kind of visual examples of what some placements might look like if you're optimizing with a cashback partner. These are some examples with Shopback and Cash Rewards. And then these are some examples with Qantas. So you can see they've taken the commission that you are providing them and they're turning that into points. And the points are that pull for the customer to actually make that purchase. Comparison shopping. These sites enable customers to find and to compare prices for products or services across multiple advertisers in one place. When people use the word comparison, I'm not always immediately sure exactly what they're talking about because there's different ways to use comparison. So I wanted to draw a little bit of a distinction between a comparison shopping engine, so perhaps a platform where you can search for a specific product and it gives you options of different retailers who are selling that product at various different price points, and you can compare them right then and there in that platform. Or it might be in the form of comparison content, which people are probably a little bit more familiar with. I'll share some content examples in just a moment, actually. There is a really strong importance to have a good quality and regularly updated data feed to work with these types of partners. Particularly if you're selling a tangible physical retail product, you want to make sure that you have a high quality feed that's optimized and updated, because if you're serving them the best data, you're going to increase your chances of being included in those results. On a somewhat related note is the commercial models. So as I mentioned, the quality of your data feed is important for surfacing your brand higher in the search results, but equally important is how much they're earning from that partnership. And that's just something to be considerate of. Oftentimes, comparison shopping might be on a CPC type of model. So if they are working with you on a CPA, it might be that you need to keep the eCPC, so effective earnings per click, essentially in mind, because you just need to know that they're comparing your CPA, so how much they're earning from your CPA. You can calculate that based on the conversion rate, clicks, etc. Your CPA versus other merchants who might be working with them directly on a CPC basis. You just need to remain competitive. Compliance guidelines for financial content, that's just something to be mindful if you are in the non-retail space, particularly in finance or insurance. There's a finite number of partners who are qualified to actually give financial advice or talk about and compare financial types of products. So it's good to just, usually that type of information is included in the footer of that publisher's website. So you can generally find it or ask your commission factory rep of all the partners that we know who can actually talk about financial products. Comparison shopping services is super interesting. So this is pretty new to our market and it's only available on Bing. I think Google has some restrictions in Australia right now, but this is really picking up in the US and the UK markets. So one kind of partner that I wanted to talk about was Twanga. as an example of a partner who's doing CSS, essentially the way that it makes the most sense in my mind of how this works is kind of like search, but images. So if you were to have an affiliate partner help support your search activity, so making your brand available in more of those sponsored ads on Bing or on Google, these type of partners do that programmatically and on a CPA. So you're only paying for the sales that you get. And they don't compete with any existing, maybe Google shopping, or in this case, Bing, any Bing shopping activity that you're doing. They can complement that activity. And you can work closely with their team to figure out how to best do that based on what your search teams might be doing. So it's really interesting to consider bringing this into the affiliate channel because there are partners who are experts in this space. These are just some quick kind of high-level examples of comparison tables. So this is for travel insurance, just compare and contrast. Some types of publishers will allow customers actually bring, so at Finder do this, for example, you can, as a customer, you can decide, I want to directly compare these 3 different types of brands or these 3 products, and I want to compare them side by side. So that's pretty cool to be able to consume that content as a consumer and have that flexibility. But as a brand, I guess making that purchase process a little bit easier for your customers. And I think most importantly, be present in making sure your brand is there amongst your competitors. The prior examples, that was Finder and Mozo. What I have now is perhaps if you're in the fashion space, I've recently been shopping for linen pants. Who doesn't love linen pants? But I don't like to pay full price for anything. So I wanted to be able to find some linen pants at the best possible price. And Fashion Lane made that super easy for me. Right off the bat, I was able to find all sorts of cute linen pants that are already discounted. And they're actually telling me how much below the average retail price that they are. The other example is product review. So this is where some consumers are actually reviewing and talking about a specific vacuum cleaner. So all of these types of affiliates can work on a CPA generally as well. Content. There is so much content. There's an increasing number of types of content every single day. I see more and more types of content pop up. But the more traditional methods of content includes online publications, blogs, informational content, news, and media. So it's typical content that we might think of. When you are looking at content, I think it's really important to know what your objectives are and to know what your budget is and try and determine what you're trying to achieve, because all of these things are going to dictate the types of partners you work with and the content medium that you might want to use. So you might want to use video content via YouTube, or maybe if you're a fashion brand targeting younger consumers, maybe you're going to want to target TikTok or something like that. That's a little bit more youthful. So definitely a lot of considerations when we're talking about content. I think what's really important is to make sure that you're communicating with your content partners, particularly if you're investing in an editorial content or campaign. Help them know what your top selling products are and your new product launches, because that's going to help them write content that's most relevant for you. It is worth noting as well, these types of partners might work on a hybrid commercial model. So that might include CPA plus flat fees. Oftentimes, I'm seeing it as CPC. There can also be a cost for editorial content that is substantial. So oftentimes a couple thousands of dollars investment might be required for editorial content. So I think it's just good to have realistic expectations and know what your budget is. But content can absolutely convert. We're seeing fantastic performance from a lot of our content partners. They become top affiliates competing with those end of funnel partners, which is great to see. So here's some just quick content examples of different types of contents and different verticals. And the ones at the side are more of listicles. So it's maybe you're searching what's the best mattress in Australia, or maybe someone's searching for women's running shoes. The one in the middle, though, this one is actually more of a product review from an editorial team. In this case, it was Stitch You. So there's lots of different ways that you can play with content depending on what your budget is and what you're looking to achieve. If you're really lucky and you have a competitive CPA and a strong brand presence already, you might actually be picked up in some listicles. That is quite possible as well, particularly news. Sometimes what's really important to the editors is what's going to resonate with their audience. So you might get lucky, but oftentimes you can't necessarily dictate unless you invest in a campaign. These are just some more examples of different types of content across various different publishers. We have our media, News Corp, Broadsheet, PC Mag. Content is super helpful and relevant regardless of what vertical you might be in. What is important with content is that you're choosing the right partners that have an audience that would resonate with your brand. So, and they know who their audience is, and they know what will work and what will appeal to that audience. Subnetworks. This one's a bit more tricky and interesting. Subnetworks are essentially a platform that's positioned between all of you, or advertisers, and a pool of affiliates or sub-publishers, if you will. Though with subnetworks comes with some kind of unique challenges, but also some benefits as well. So I wanted to talk through some of these today. I would say the most important thing is determining the value of the publisher base. It is so important that if you're going to work with a subnetwork, that you know that they have a pool of really, really valuable publishers that are going to resonate with you and with your brand. And to get that, it leads into the second point, is transparency. So we do require transparency from our subnetworks. I think we're working on 100% transparency. We already have about 90% of our subnetworks are providing us as the platform, AWIN and Commission Factory, with full transparency of the sub affiliates that are sitting underneath of that. The reason that's important is for compliance reasons. We want to make sure that there's no types of promotional methods that maybe you don't allow for your brand. So if maybe you don't allow search, or maybe you don't allow coupons, or whatever it might be, you want to make sure that that activity isn't happening under the umbrella of a sub-network. So transparency and compliance is super important with these guys. And you might want to even just have a quick Google. When you come across a sub-network, you might want to Google their reputation. What have people said about them? Are they good quality? Are they a trusted partner? Because they're all really different. They're all really unique. And they are all based in different countries and have different specialities. The benefits, though, is oftentimes they have a global reach of partners. So while Commission Factory and certainly AWIN definitely have a global pool of partners already, some of these guys might have an area of specialty in a market where maybe they have a wider pool of, maybe it's Korean publishers within their specific subnetwork than perhaps we had on our platform directly. So just some considerations to keep in mind. Access to large editorial content sites. And the last point and this point are interrelated. Partners like Skimlinks, for example. Skimlinks is a fantastic partner who is not only fully transparent, but they work really closely with the brands to help align your objectives with the opportunities available via their affiliates. But because of the efficiency tools that they're providing, particularly to content publishers, they might have access to really large editorial sites that perhaps we don't have direct access to, or you don't have direct access to. And the reason why the publishers like to work with them is because they have not only their own publisher development teams to support these publishers, but they offer services like maybe it's content writing, where they might be writing some content on behalf of that publisher. But probably most commonly used is tools that convert existing direct links into affiliate links, thus monetizing that content. There's a lot of efficiencies that can be gained. I think content partners don't necessarily have the time to go through every single page on every single editorial that they own and convert all of them to affiliate links manually. Some of these partners, like Skimlinks, for example, and even Sovereign, can just turn that on for them through an integration. Now, it might be helpful to understand how they work or where they're positioned in the ecosystem. So at the top, you might have your affiliate network, like Commission Factory or AWIN. We are integrated with all of you as our advertisers. We're then making your affiliate program available within our platform to the affiliates so that they can then promote your brand. Where a subnetwork comes in is a subnetwork is also integrated with Commission Factory, and they can access, if they're joined to your program, only if you have approved them into your program, they can access your tracking links and then make your program and your links available to their wider pool of affiliates. So that's just where they sit in the ecosystem. Influencers and influencer platforms. This is really about collaboration with people who probably have a strong online presence and the ability to shape opinions or drive actions from their audience or their kind of niche area. Well, you can absolutely run direct influencer activity depending on the amount of resources that you have available to you. It could be more efficient to actually run an influencer campaign, especially if you're looking for something at scale through an influencer network or platform. They often work on a hybrid commercial models. So to even work with an influencer platform, there's oftentimes going to be upfront costs like fees and things like that to even get started. The influencers themselves might have different commercial models that they expect. It might be CPA plus gift or CPA plus a gift card, or it might even be CPC. I think maybe on one weird occasion I saw CPM. Anyways, there are different hybrid commercial models that could be required or involved with this type of activity. But there are some that work on a CPA as well, and actually have a fun case study to share with you. The cost of content creation and influencer management can be high as well. So I'd say if your primary objective is return on investment, return on your ad spend, just keep this in mind that they're not always the end closer, but if you're really looking to increase awareness about your brand or kind of reach a wider pool of customers, there's plenty of value that they have to add, and they do often convert. You just need to keep in mind what your expectations and requirements are of each individual partnership. This was a really fun campaign that my muscle chef and their account manager at Commission Factory helped to set up. And it's with some kind of foodie influencers. They reviewed the My Muscle Chef products and then posted their content at peak lunchtime. So when everyone's scrolling on their phones, that's when they went live with the content. Within 48 hours, they were the top performing affiliate on that program. So that's what I mean by influencers can convert, they can drive action if it's done strategically and if you work really closely with your partners. It contributed to over 33% quarter-on-quarter uplift in their revenue and affiliate performance as well, which is super impressive. Technology partners, there's so much to cover here. So I'm not going to go into all the different types of technology partners because we actually have a dedicated session that we've already done. So if you haven't watched that session, I would highly recommend. We have some on-demand content around some of our technology partners and the Commission Factory integration marketplace, which makes it super easy for you to integrate and connect with some of these partners through our existing master tag integration so that you don't actually require any dev work on your side. There's a growing number of technology providers, and they offer so many different types of solutions, such as on-site technology, retargeting, post-purchase types of engagement or advocacy, post-purchase rewards, etc. And there's lots of challenges that these types of solutions can solve. So I will touch on those challenges because I think that might be helpful if there's anything that kind of comes to mind for you and sparks some ideas. With these guys, attribution is another important thing to consider. At the beginning, we talked about soft click attribution. This would probably come into play and be really important. If you have an affiliate partner who sat on your website at the very end of that customer journey, there's a chance that they might override your other affiliate activity. So you might want to place them on a soft click or have a discussion with them, or it's quite possible that your network provider, Commission Factory or AWIN, has placed them on a soft click default. But basically, we allow you the ability to customize all of your partnerships. So if you want someone on a standard click, if you want someone on a soft click, you can customize that within the platform. And then most of these types of partners do require integration, but as I mentioned, we make that as easy as a click of a button through the platform. Some of the problems or challenges rather that these types of partners might be able to help you solve. Maybe you want to increase your average order value. There's partners like web push notifications, exit intent technology, on-site engagement, email remarketing, dynamic coupons. There's all sorts of different stuff that can help you achieve some of these. I think the one I wanted to have a look at was, because I find this one pretty interesting, it's about maybe you want to clear out specific inventory. That can be challenging to do. Or maybe you want to introduce customers to a brand new product range. There are product recommendation partners and automatic product bundling partners that can be super helpful in achieving some of these objectives or solving some of these challenges. We've got a few more as well. But in the interest of time, I will keep pushing forward. We'll have a quick peek at a case study. As I mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation, you can use some of your affiliate partners, particularly technology partners, to engage with your customers post-purchase. So what Soreto do is they integrate right on that final kind of thank you page after the purchase has happened. They then give that customer a reward for purchasing and incentivize them to purchase again, bringing them to the top of your funnel, but also inviting them to share their shopping experience on social media. And they're provided with an exclusive discount code to be able to share with their audience. That's amazing because you can turn your existing customers into advocates or brand ambassadors. We've had a number of clients successfully do this. This case study here is an example of an AWIN client in the lingerie space. They're called Ann Summers. They partnered with Soreto and actually saw over 300% increase in the revenue generated through that partnership. And perhaps even more importantly, was their conversion rate increased by 318%. That's super impressive. And then they had an uplift across a number of other metrics as well. So I've been talking a lot, so I'll take a little bit of a pause. That kind of wraps up some of the main topics that we wanted to cover with you guys today, some top level foundational information that will hopefully help you in your affiliate journey. And thank you all for your time and have a fantastic rest of your day.